If you're thinking about supervising and you're imagining a classroom full of supervisees all at the same level, buckle up. Dr. Ashley Stevens and I are talking about what we wish we knew before becoming clinical supervisors. All the surprises, all the, oh my gosh, I didn't know that, all of the things that hit us sideways. If you want the truth before you jump in, you are in the right place. Hey, I'm Dr. Kate Walker. Welcome to another episode of Badass Therapists Building Practices That Thrive. And today is for you if you are on the fence about becoming a supervisor, because you should become one. And that's what our aim is to get you to want to be a supervisor. And if you are already a supervisor, I think you're going to find these next 3 episodes kind of intriguing, because we are going to talk about things that, new supervisors don't necessarily know. So I am joined today by the amazing Dr. Ashley Stevens, who teaches our social work supervisor course. So welcome, Ashley. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So this will be fun because we're talking about what we wish we knew before we started supervising. So,
hmm
I'm going to go first. Here's just a quick story. And a lot of Texas supervisors can relate to this who are of a certain age, because there was a time, once upon a time in Texas, where you only had to be licensed 3 years and then you could become a supervisor. So, and in fact, for LMFT in Texas, that's it. Yeah, 3 years or 3,000 hours. But the point of this is I was not ready. I was not ready at 3,000. I'm sorry, scratch that. I was not ready at 3 years of being fully licensed to be a supervisor. So, what I wish I knew was that, I should have waited 5 years. I should have waited until I've been licensed for longer, because, as a supervisor, you have to have a handle on things like, oh, I don't know, theories, right? Like you have to be able to be fluent in theories. And it is like a language, because you're helping another person become fluent in theories. And if you don't know the theory, then, it's hard to know if they're doing it right. So there were just, mine's all related to experience. I just wish, I wish I knew that I should have waited. But
hmm
I don't know. How about you?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I wish I knew was just how many assumptions that I was making about the education and training of supervisees. I've had a gamut of people who get out of their master's programs and are like, I'm ready to do private practice. I'm ready to own a practice. I'm ready to, tackle the world. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. We'll see. Let's assess and figure out. And then I've had people who've said, and this was like a week ago, I had a supervisee that said, I'm not an LCSW yet. I can't diagnose. And I went, what? Welcome to the world where you get to diagnose. I guess I just assumed that like part of having an MSW was some really commonalities. And what I've come to find the longer and longer I do supervision is that truly every individual program is an individual program. And what these individuals have taken from the program are a party of one too. So your education, your training, your life experience, in social work, I feel like there's actually a older population. Generally, we see either people who've been, I'm going to use air quotes for social work in terms of like they've worked at DSS for a really long time, or DPS, or whatever you call it in your state, CPS, Child Protective Services. And they've never gotten their master's degree, but they're in their 40s or 50s or 60s. We're a lot of like that second career, third career, or just I've been doing this forever and I'm just now going after the masters. So we have like just a wide range. And I think when you come into supervision thinking like it's going to be this type of person or this stage of person or this age of person or whatever, you're probably wrong. get used to some really wide ranging experiences, ages, perspectives, etc.
Yeah, I think a lot of new supervisors think that too. Like it's going to be a class. Like everybody's going
Yeah.
to be at the same place at the same time, and they're all going to graduate together, and it's going to be so great. And it's
Yes.
no, not like that.
No. It's a lot more
No.
chaotic, which is some of the fun, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. So, what do you feel like? I mean, those are kind of our stories, and you're already hitting on it. I mean, what no one tells you about supervising,
Yeah.
and I think you know, like you're talking about, these the ideas that it's going to be very homogenous versus
Hmm.
not that, right? Very, very different. I think what nobody tells you about supervision, at least for counselors, is well, okay, it's one or the other, right? People are either going to scare them away by saying, oh, you're going to get that terrible supervisee and it's just going to rock your world and you're going to wish you weren't doing this, and it's your license too. Or I get the other end, which is, oh, they're all wonderful. There's
Yes.
never going to be a problem. We're all buds, kumbaya, and off we go. So
Yes.
I think what nobody tells you about supervising is you have to kind of put on your boss pants, right, and get your boss coffee mug and understand that you are in charge. So if you have
Yeah.
a difficult supervisee, there's nobody else that's going to fix it but you.
Yes.
And if you have wonderful supervisees, and they're all wonderful, then you need to have the ability to kind of look in the mirror and go, really, are they all wonderful? Or am I just not really doing my job and digging in, and asking the right
Yeah.
questions? So, yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. I One of the things that I feel like our profession naturally does not great when you transition to things like group practices, things like supervision, is how much business like acumen you truly need. Now, I am not advocating for anyone to go out and get like an MBA on top of everything that we've done, but like reach out to either programs, Yale and MIT have all of these classes that are brand new and free and all of these things. Do some research around things like business mindset. Because I feel like one of the things that supervisee or like taking on supervision as a whole, if you're not really settled about like how you take money, how you operate your business, your boundaries, your abilities as a human with all the things you have going on outside of work, you will get maybe swept away. You'll get in over your head about this process because not only are you doing that for yourself, you're creating a separate lane in your business even if you're not creating a whole new business for supervision, but you're also then teaching them how to do the same thing. So I was kind of like the first time somebody said, "How should I set this up?" I went like, "Oh, that's not me. I'm your clinical supervisor." But it kind of is because I want to make sure that my supervisees not only have the clinical skills under their belt, but they know the pros and cons of running their own business, of working in a group versus a hospital, all of the things that kind of make up like a happy, well, functional clinician at the end of this also includes some of those business skills that we may still be kind of hunting and searching for. So I would say like make sure you get right and do what you need to do, reflection, mentorship, coaching, whatever that is, taking free classes at the local community college about business, whatever you need to do, but like make sure you're well in your foundation of business acumen before you start trying to do this process. It will help you in the long run, I think, exponentially.
Yeah, and I know there are either supervisors or supervisor wannabes out there right now shaking their head going, oh, no, no, I'm not taking on anybody who wants to have their own business. Okay, well, they're not going to be with you forever. And so
Exactly.
many of the folks we see maybe they do end up in a job that they don't love, and they come to you and they say, oh, you know what, I really want to check out this private practice thing. Or maybe they're working in a private practice and the business owner at that practice isn't the best, and they're coming to
Yes.
you with questions, right? And am I being classified correctly, 1099 or W-2? I mean, so you will get asked business questions even
Yes.
if you are working at an agency and supervising is part of your job and you're not collecting money for supervision. It's just the most non-business setting you could possibly be in. You're
Yes.
still going to be asked questions about business because that's what supervisees, they want to know everything. And
Yes.
even if they decide they don't want to open their own, or your state doesn't allow that, they're still going to want to know how to do that at the end of the day.
Yes.
Um,
And I think that's one of the funny pieces is like I always say, and I kind of alter my brain to make this the forefront. I am training these people to be my colleagues.
mhm.
I'm not training them to be my employees unless you're filling your group practice and you do whatever you want to do. But like I'm creating my referral sources. I'm creating my network. I'm creating my colleagues at the end of the day. And what I think maybe there was a piece of this of like that's coming to me, which is 2 years is very short in the long run of things. If you can think back to your master's program and the minute you entered those doors and sat in that chair, if you weren't at home, sat in whatever chair you were at for your master's program and you went, oh my gosh, this is going to be the longest 2 years of my life. And then you get at the end and you're like, that flew by in a like second. That's the same for them in supervision. Yes, if they're not ready at day one, of course, 2 years is coming quick. And if you delay that ability to kind of meet them where they are, if their goal is to open a private practice, well, now you're kind of behind because now you have to like somehow figure out in everything else that's going on that you haven't been working with them around this very important thing that is their goal, that is going to get them across the line. And, 2 years, it goes quicker than you think it's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about rookie mistakes. And when I say rookie mistakes, I mean rookie supervisor mistakes, because I think this is one of those rookie mistakes. It's like, starting off as a brand new counselor and saying, well, I'm never going to counsel this kind of person or a person with this
Yes.
issue. And that's the person that walks through your door first. But I think that a lot of supervisors start off pigeonholing themselves the same way. Like, oh, no, no, no. I'm a CBT person all the way. I'm never going to take on somebody that doesn't do CBT.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe, and then what are you going to do? Right. I know in
Yeah.
Texas, you're allowed with LPC and LMFT to have two supervisors at the same time. So you could just say, hey, go hire another supervisor to teach you that. But you talk
Mhm.
about a paperwork, if you don't like paperwork one on one, guess what it's going to be like when you're trying to coordinate supervision with another supervisor. So, you know,
Yes.
no, you don't have to be a jack of all trades, um, but just being willing to be open to these things, including private practice, including if somebody wants to come to you or comes to you and says, you know what, I decided I hate play therapy and I don't want to do it
Mhm.
anymore. Or I know I'm trained as a couple counselor, but I hate couples. So now I want to do
Yep.
something else. So yeah, for me, the rookie mistake for a supervisor would be kind of getting in that locked mindset of I'm only going to do this or I'm never going to do that. So
Yes.
what do you think?
Yeah, I love that. And it is something that, like, kind of going back to the beginning here, which is you have maybe you have some control over who you see. And I think it's worth getting into internal versus external supervision here in a minute. But like often when people become supervisors and they're marketing and they're trying to find people, it's kind of like with client your first caseload. You're just like, I'll take anyone. I just
Mhm.
need to survive until I can get to the place where I can be a little more specific. So I love that. And one of the rookie mistakes that I see is not leveraging the information you have. So some of my favorite supervisors that have come through our course and through the process are those who kind of are these like diamonds in the rough who don't really realize how much information or niche knowledge that they have that they can utilize to get people who want to be like them. And I think maybe there's a piece that comes from this like sometimes the world of therapy feels like a competition rather than collaboration.
Mhm.
Like I'm my town's play therapist, for example, and I don't want anyone to know, all of these skills that I have because then I'm not going to have as many clients because they're going to be spread around town. But one of the things that I encourage people to think about is if you can kind of transition your mind to, like, let's say you spend 10 years in your career and you see 50 clients a year. Think about the exponential ripple effect of that if you were to have 10 supervisees, one a year over those 2 years, and each of them also saw 50 people that year. And now you're touching double the amount of people if you're only seeing one supervisee. So like being able to not only contribute to the field, your niche or your knowledge or whatever, but then like when you have to close, when you have kids, when there's an emergency or when you want a sabbatical, you have these built in people that you've trained well to be knowledgeable and experts in the field that you're in. Well, now look at how many resources you have to lean on rather than this isolating, like, I'm the one of me who knows how to do this. So I kind of like think about your history, think about your past, think about your niche, what you specialize in, and just think what would it be like if I had more people who knew that, experienced that, were trained in that, and how much that could help instead of hurt.
And one of the things Ashley and I will be talking about on another episode in more depth is actually the top mistakes supervisors make. So we're going to dive into those things. Don't miss that episode. We will dig in. So I think what I want to leave people with, first of all, yes, you should supervise. If we haven't made that abundantly clear, yes, you should supervise. And I know one of the things at Kate Walker Training, we want to leave our brand new supervisors with is support.
Mm,
Getting in there, recognizing that, okay, isolation wasn't good for you as a counselor. Well, it's not good for you as a new supervisor either. And so
yes.
getting into community, whether it's one of our Facebook pages, we have the Texas Supervisor Coalition, which you don't have to be from Texas to join. Um, Communities in your town, communities, I mean, a business community, if you're trying to, get your business acumen up, but just staying in community, and you can do this. It's such an amazing feeling to raise a supervisee into your colleague. And, when you see them at conferences or when you see them at a networking event, and you can really be proud of the people that you're putting out there and the difference that you're making in your community.
Absolutely.
We have two more videos in this series that talk about what Ashley and I have learned from teaching and being clinical supervisors. So if this helped, please hit like, tap subscribe, and grab your free resource at katewalkertraining.com/checklist so you can be prepared to make the leap into supervising. And if you're already a supervisor, so you can keep your system strong.